Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hello and welcome to Share Talk. Today I'm joined by Mike Ralston, who's CEO at a company which is new to the, it's readmitted to the main list on the London market, Blencowe Resources, the ticker code BRES, for those who are interested. Hopefully they will be after this interview. Hi today, Mike.
Very good, thank you. Very good. Thanks for having me.
Right. There's a little bit of a deal that's come through. You've raised £2 million. You're focused on the natural resources sector. Tell us a little bit more of the fine detail, if you can.
In terms of the project?
Yes.
So Blencowe has just completed a deal whereby it acquired all the shares of a company called Consolidated African Resources in Uganda. And Consaf Uganda owns the rights and the tenements to a very large graphite deposit in northeastern Uganda. It's somewhere between 3 and 4 billion tons, so it's one of the largest graphite resources in the world. There's been a fair bit of work done on it to date, a fair bit of drilling, trenching, a first phase of met test work. But all in all, we're very impressed with it because in our due diligence, we not only discovered the size and scale of it, but the flake sizes are typically pretty large as well, which gets you a premium in the market. So we think that we've stumbled across something of real value. There's a little bit of work that still needs to be done to unlock that value, but we've hit the ground running, and we hope to become a significant graphite player going forward.
Right. So obviously the big question is, what's the state of the graphite market at the moment if you've got such a decent looking asset?
Well, that's a very good question because the graphite market was all set to explode a couple of years ago. Everyone was very excited about the role that graphite plays within the lithium-ion battery in the anode, and there were huge projections made in terms of how the explosion of electric vehicles worldwide was going to change everything, and obviously all the batteries associated with that explosion were going to cause graphite demand to go through the ceiling. That hasn't quite happened yet, anyway. But I think it will happen. And I believe that there is an electric vehicle explosion in demand going to happen at some stage. I wish I could put my finger on exactly what year it's going to be, but I would suggest somewhere in the 5 to 10 year range, we're going to see significant numbers of EVs around the world. And we think that we've got a project that's going to be able to fulfill that demand quite considerably because we can scale up to very big numbers if we have to. Furthermore, we're in a very stable African country. Uganda has been probably one of the most stable African countries for a long, long time. And we think that it carries considerable advantages in that regard because I think about 60% of the world's graphite forecast going forward is coming out of Southern Africa, Madagascar, Mozambique, Tanzania, places like this. So they are pretty high-risk countries. So we think that we've got something special, and we're obviously going to put all our efforts into taking it forward and developing it.
You highlighted, let's say there might be some, because I've heard of there are other graphite players around the place. There was that, let's say, a bubble, a couple of years ago. Have you taken advantage of buying at or getting into this area at a non-bubble price? So basically, almost like a distressed.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a good point. We have hit it at the sort of low point in the cycle, which is always a good time to get in. So we're pretty confident that the entry price that we bought the asset is a good one. But at the same time, it's all about understanding the product. It's understanding the quality of the product because there's a significant difference between different types of graphite and a significant price difference as well. The small fines can run at sort of $350, $400 a ton. And as you go up to the jumbo flakes with a high purity in the concentrate, you can get up to $2,500 per ton. So it does matter what type of graphite you've got. And that's obviously very important. And we believe that we've got significant quantities of large and jumbo flakes there, which is a slightly different market to the electric vehicles. So we will have different graphite that will be able to be sold into different parts of the graphite market, if that makes sense. But we're obviously working very hard to get our met test work done so that we can understand exactly what the end product will look like and how much of it we'll have.
So you're a little bit spread around the sector, the mini sector in a way as well. So the risk is not totally binary in terms of electric vehicles work, or they happen or they don't happen.
Correct. And so you've got Syrah Resources, which was the big play that came into the graphite space a couple of years ago. They became the market leader. They were looking to get up to 350,000 tons per annum at a full capacity. Their entire model was built up to getting very low costs associated with those larger production numbers. But in ramping up, they've over pushed the market in terms of supply, which has pushed the price down, which has left them in a difficult situation. And they are, I think, about 90% small fines. So they're sort of at the lower end of the market in terms of price. So I think in a best case scenario, we'd like to be somewhere between 50 and 60% at the large and jumbo flakes end of the market, because you're going to get the high prices. And then we will always have some medium-sized and smaller fines coming through as well, which we'll also be able to put into the EV market as well. So there's a range of different sizes and a range of different quality of graphite, but all in all, we've got a very pure product, very low on impurities, which is good. We're just doing the MET test work at the moment to understand exactly what concentrate it can upgrade to, because that's also very important. So yes, we will have a range of graphite, and we will know probably a little bit more about that over the next couple of months as we finish our MET test work.
Well, that's one of the highlights to look out for in terms of the timelines, the fundamental timelines. Any other things that we should look out for?
Well, we are doing a JORC Resource drilling program. Your work was done on the project before, but it's such a vast resource that literally with a couple of billion tons, and you're only ever going to mine a very, very, very small fraction of that per annum, or even over a 10 to 50 year mine life, just a small percentage. So the actual work to identify a particular area that could be mined and take it right through all the JORC drilling that takes it to an indicated resource, and ultimately we can do a feasibility study, has to be done. And that work is starting now. It's underway. So there's going to be a JORC resource coming through in the next couple of months. In parallel, as I say, we're taking some of the samples that we've already achieved there and getting the MET test work done. And we'll be starting to do a little bit of the work behind the scenes in terms of scoping study, feasibility study, so we can understand the logistics of moving product to market and all the other infrastructure requirements, etc., to make this into a genuine project going forward.
Sounds like you're going to be very busy. You had a good start on the market today. I think the shares are up 20-30%, something like that. So that's good news. But in the meantime, Mike Ralston, CEO at Blencowe Resources, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Zach. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.